All right, so when multiplying mixed numbers, we're going to treat it similar to multiplying fractions. The only step is we have to convert those mixed numbers into improper fractions. Then we can do the multiplication, and it works out just the same as multiplying fractions. So let's go ahead and get started. So first, 4 times 1 2/3. So 4 would technically be a mixed number. It's just there's nothing, no fraction attached to it. But anything whole number is just a number divided by 1. So we can write this as 4/1. Okay, this next one, now we're going to go to get our numerator. It's going to be our denominator times our whole number plus our numerator. And then that's going to be over our denominator. So you've got 4/1 times 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2 is 5/3. Okay, so 4 times 5 equals 20, and 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, so now we want to convert this back to a mixed number. And so we're going to put the numerator under the bracket, denominator as the divisor. 3 can go into 26 times. That would give us 18. 6 times 3 is 18. 20 minus 18 is going to give us a remainder of 2. Right, 2 is going to be our new numerator. Our quotient is going to be our whole number. And our divisor is our denominator. So now we can rewrite 20/3 is equal to 6 and 2/3. Right? And so there we have it. We've converted to improper fractions, multiplied, and then converted back to a mixed number. And one thing to think about when you're multiplying numbers that are greater than 1, your answer should be greater than the first number here, 4, that you are multiplying by, which it is. So we're timesing 4 by almost 2, but not quite 2 because it's 2/3 instead of full. So it should be at least 4. That would be times the 1, and then 2/3 of 4 is going to be, looks like 2 and 2/3. So that gives us just an idea if we've even got the right answer. If we're multiplying by something greater than a whole, our answer should be bigger than the first number. Okay. All right, same thing. We've got two mixed numbers. We need to convert them to improper fractions. So we've got 5 times 3 plus 4 over 5, and that's going to be times 7 times 2 plus 3 over 7. 5 times 3 is 15. 15 plus 4 is 19. So 19/5 times 7 times 2 is 14. Plus 3 is going to give us 17/7. Now we can multiply them together. 19 times 17. I'm just going to round this to 20 and say 20 times 17, which equals 34 or 340. And then I'm just going to subtract 17 to get 323. Okay, so 323 over 5 times 7, which is 35. Okay. Now this is just a quick way. You could have set it up as 19 times 17 and got the same answer. This is just a shortcut I used because I knew 20 times 17 was 340. And I knew you're just doing one less than 20 17s. So you'd minus 17 from that to get 323. You can still set it up as 19 times 17 to get the same answer. All right, so now we've got to convert this to a mixed number. So we put our denominator as our divisor, our numerator under the bracket. Okay, so now I know that, let's clean this up a little bit. I know that 35 times 10 is going to be 350, which is larger than 323. But I know 350 minus 35 is going to be less than 323. So I'm just going to put 35 can go into 323 9 times. And over here I can just do 35 times 9. 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 3 is 27 plus 4 is 31. So there we have 315. So 9 times 35 is 315. When we subtract, we get a remainder of, so you can't subtract 5 from 3. You have to borrow from the 20, or 20 because in the 10 spot, that becomes 1. This now becomes 13. 13 minus 5 is going to give us 8. And everything else is going to cancel out. So our remainder is 8. So this becomes a new numerator. Our quotient becomes our whole number. And our denominator, or our divisor, is our denominator. So now we can write that 323 divided by 35 is equal to 9 8/35. All right, so last one. We have a negative times a positive. Once again, there's an odd number of negatives, so our answer will be negative. But first step is convert. 5 times negative 2 plus 4. And actually, I'm going to just note that this one is negative. Just to avoid confusion, when you do 5 times a negative 2, that would make a negative number, and then the plus 4. But we just need to note that this is going to be negative, the outcome. Because you're not actually taking 5 times 2 to get a negative 10 plus 4, which would be a negative 6. It's all going to be negative because it's all part of the same fraction. Okay, and that's going to be over 5. And then you have 7 times 3 plus 4. Over 7. All right, 5 times 2 is 10 plus 4 is 14, so this becomes 14/5. And then you have 7 times 3, which is 21, plus 4 is going to give us 25/7. Okay, and so now we can cross simplify. So once again, we're looking at the opposite numerator and the opposite denominator. So we notice the greatest common factor of 14 and 7 is 7. So we're going to divide both those terms by 7. And also the greatest common factor of 25 and 5 is 5. So we divide both those by the greatest common factor, which is 5. So now we will reduce those, and you get 14 divided by 7 is 2. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So this first fraction right here reduces to 2 over 1. And now this next one, 25 divided by 5, is 5. And 7 divided by 7 is 1. So now what we get is 2 times 5, which is 10. 1 times 1 is 1. So then this would just equal 10. So we're able to take advantage of the cross multiplication instead of saying, okay, what's 14 times 25, which is a larger number. We were able to simplify those before to get them to smaller numbers so we can get an even or an easy 2 times 5, which gives us 10. Now, not all of them will give you a cross multiplication or cross simplification on both of them. It might just be one, but always look for that to make this a simpler process. And that is multiplying mixed numbers. So once again, a lot like multiplying fractions. It's just we have to take those mixed numbers and convert them into improper fractions.